What's up, Gen Nation? Breaking news that just broke out a couple, probably an hour or two ago. Jets tight end Chris Herndon has been suspended for the first 4 games of the regular season. Now, this is from last summer where he got arrested for DUI. He got into a car crash, um, and I believe in February he pleaded guilty for it. So a suspension was pretty much coming along. We knew it since February. I knew it personally. A lot of Jets fans did not know it. That's why a lot of people are overreacting to it. Um, but the 4 games is a little bit too much than I thought it would be. I think it would be 2 games, but Adam Schefter, I believe, reported that a woman who was at the scene claimed that she was very harmed due to the crash, which I don't buy. She probably just want his money. So I believe he's appealing. I think New York Daily News reported it a couple minutes ago as well that Chris Herndon will be appealing the 4 games because there should be 2 games. So many other athletes have gotten away with so many different things like Tyreek Hill. So it would be kind of unfair to have Chris Herndon miss 4 games, um, especially for when we're going into the season, we're thinking about it. And Chris Herndon is a big part of this offense. He's one of the top young tight ends in the league. And to lose a guy like Chris Herndon, especially for Sam Darnold in the offense, it's a big loss. But it's not replaceable. They can manage and like work together, and with Adam Gase, with Le'Veon Bell, Quincy, and one guys can come in, and Adam Gase can work a little bit and just fill in the 4 games that Chris Herndon will miss, and maybe finding a replacement for him in those 4 games. Um, the current tight ends are not that great right now. They have Daniel Brown, Eric Tomlinson, and rookie Trevin Wisco. So what these 3 tight ends, they're more of a blocking tight ends. But Adam Gase did praise Trevin Wisco and said pretty much that he's a good route runner. He can catch the ball, and he's definitely a blocking tight end. And he won't be Chris Herndon type, long range type deal like bigger plays, but he could get the job done. And it's gonna be interesting to see especially in training camp, to see if he steps it up, and then how Adam Gase uses him to see if they actually give him that role that he needs. Um, but again, I think the Jets will add another tight end possibly before training camp, which starts in about 2 weeks. Um, and Austin Jenkins is a guy maybe to watch. He did get signed by the Patriots when free agency started, but he left the NFL completely because he wanted to get away from football, just to get his mind right. So I don't know if he'll return back to New England or look for another job, but I don't know if that is an option for us as of now. But realistically thinking about this, okay, Chris Herndon's gone for 4 games. He is appealing, so hopefully he can get to 2 games, which would be amazing. Then we would get him back week 3. But if we just think about this, it's not as bad, It's not the worst. I do think they're going to use now Quincy Nunwa and use him as like a tight end because, he has the body for a tight end, type role. And he has done that before. So it wouldn't be that bad of a position for Quincy Nunwa personally. But with Quincy Nunwa being there, Crowder would take over the role of Quincy Nunwa, which he usually gets of the slot position. And I do think Crowder will have a better season than Nunwa. But overall, thinking about the offense with Chris Herndon out, Quincy Nunwa could take that role at the tight end. He can shimmer out. And depending on if Devin Wesco or Daniel Brown steps up in training camp or preseason to show that they can be that tight end that comes in and just works their tail off for the four games that Chris Herndon is missing, or the 2 games, no matter what the suspension is. And if he can step up, that'd be ideal for the New York Jets, But the one thing I'm saying is I don't think they're in a terrible situation. The season's not over. The season hasn't even started yet. He's gonna be back. He's not. It's not like he has a season-ending injury. Like that's not the end of the world. But it's gonna. They're just gonna have to adjust. They're gonna have to adjust and figure out where what are the guys that are gonna step up. You know, next man up. You know, the suspension. We all knew this. A lot of fans are not understanding this. This is a lot of months, and people were preparing for this suspension, and people are overreacting now because of the suspension coming out. Because I need you guys to pay attention to the freaking team. This is what pisses me off. A lot of pisses all fan pages off. Like people don't understand and they freak out without even looking at the exact detail of what exactly happened during that period and why the suspension is coming through. So I need you to completely look at it. It's not the end of the world. Please do not listen to all like the smoke that's gonna come towards this. You know, people are gonna be like, the season's over. Same old Jets. This and that. You know, it's not over. It's not even over. Not even close. You know, he's a big part of the offense, but we got bigger people on this offense now with Le'Veon Bell, Robbie Anderson's still there, Crowder got signed, Quincy is still there. So we still got our entire team. Just Chris Herndon is not going to be there. And other guys need to step up. So I do still think we can win those. I believe we can win at least 2 or 3 games in the beginning of the season. But just people need to step up. You know, Wesco needs to step up. Daniel Brown, if he wants to stay on the roster, step up. Tomlinson starts catching the freaking ball. That's what has to happen. You can't rely on one guy for the entire season and expect, oh, if something goes wrong, it's the end of the world. We got to keep going. It's the same old Jets because they don't adjust to that. And maybe Adam Gase can adjust to that. Especially, that's why they brought Adam Gase in. They need to adjust and make a winning culture. They wanted a different feel, and that's what Adam Gase has. And I could guarantee you, Joe Douglas is definitely going to be looking at some tight ends and trying to bring some talent in. Joe Douglas has an eye for this. So I think we are in a good position. We're still in a good position. We're still not in a bad position because of Joe Douglas, all these other guys stepping in. We're going to be fine. Just don't panic. Just keep hoping that it's still they can condense it to a 2-game and his appeal works. And again, it's not the end of the world. But it's definitely a big loss. But it had to happen. So, and he hasn't done anything since last June that has affected it. Which is a positive. And we know that he could be a tight end of our future. He can be the next Gronk if who ever knows. You never know. It's early in the process. So if he can get his mind right, which he has done, we're in a good place with him. And if he can just get the suspension over with and then come back and just play ball, I can't say anything bad about this suspension, but the only thing bad, it needs to get condensed. I guess it has to be 2 games and make it fair. It has to be fair, and they have to make it fair. But again, I think the Jets are gonna try to find a different guy to come in and take the position, and have a little bit more competition in training camp. We'll see who steps up in 2 weeks, and we'll be there to cover it. We're going to be at training camp, so we'll see who steps up, and we'll go from there.